Guys, welcome to Armchair Athletes. I just dropped everything over here. That's cool. I'm Reno,
I'm Ed.
and this is our NBA preview where I rank the NBA teams from worst to best, and Ed has to put up with me. Last time we talked about what did we talk about? The
Last
Utah
time we talked
Jazz.
to
I don't need you.
Utah Jazz,
The Utah Jazz. In this video, we're talking about the Indiana Pacers, home of basketball, home of almost winning the championship, but never actually winning the championship.
home of Reggie Miller,
Home of Reggie Miller,
the
home
second
of
greatest shooter of all time, third
home,
greatest shooter of all time.
home of Larry Legend. He was a Hoosier, and then he coached the Pacers. I hate the Celtics, but I love Larry Bird. You gotta love Larry Bird. He punches people in the face. He's so mean. He's so great. I love him. He tells people where he's gonna shoot it, and then he makes it in their face. He's fantastic. Larry Bird. Oh man, I could talk about Larry Bird all day. Anyways,
But we're going to go ahead and talk about what the Pacers did last year. So, Pacers went 44-28, which was good for the fourth seed in the East. They lost to Miami in round one.
I think first off, the Pacers are going to be one of the best teams. Not the one of the best teams. Last year, the East was not great because if you remember last time we talked about the Jazz, they were 44-28, and they were
Sixth.
sixth seed, and the Pacers 44-28, and they were the fourth seed. If that tells you anything. Last year they had injuries. They were riddled with injuries. Victor Oladipo was out a lot of the time. But TJ Warren blew up in the bubble, dropping a 50 burger. The boy can score. Now he can't stop a nosebleed, but he can score. And that's about it. They didn't really do much. They did Pacer things. They made the playoffs. They made some rumbles. Here's the thing with Pacers. They're always a well-coached team. Nick McMillan did a fantastic job. He got fired because they got swept. They shouldn't have been swept, but they were. And they just don't have they have a lot of good B players. You know what I'm saying? Like if you're grading the players, they have like a lot of good B and B plus players. They just don't have any A's. They don't have any stars. They have a couple of all-stars. Miles Turner could be a defensive player of the year, talent-wise. Malcolm Brogdon is a great point guard to play make for you. They just don't have any like stars on their team, and that's what they're missing. But I'm jumping ahead of myself. Let's look at what they did last year or last offseason. This offseason.
All right.
So they added Justin Holiday. They didn't add him. They just re-signed him. Justin Holiday is a really good player. He could shoot. He could defend. He's kind of a 3-and-D guy. They also have Aaron Holiday, who's the point guard. They have 2 out of 3 of the Holiday brothers. All 3 of them fantastic players. Jakar Sampson just has a cool name. They lost TJ Leaf. Fun fact about TJ Leaf is one of my favorite NBA anecdotes because it's so stupid and it's so obscure. In the history of the NBA, there's only been 3 players named TJ, and they all played for Indiana last year.
That's crazy.
Isn't that crazy?
That's wild.
I don't know how true it is, but I read it on Facebook. I hope it's true.
I read it on Facebook.
They didn't do a lot this offseason. They did change the head coach. I forget the guy's name, but he's a Nick Nurse alumni. And Nick Nurse, as we both know, is a fantastic coach Nick Nurse is one of those coaches that coaches his players, and the players buy into it. And if they come in with an ego, they leave the franchise without it because that's a type of coach Nick Nurse is. They make them. He doesn't make them, but players want to buy into his system. Yeah. I have a great number one. They're 3-0. They just beat the Celtics. I watched the game a second ago. I think they have a great infrastructure front office wise in terms of getting pieces. I think they draft decently, and I think this head coach, I forget his name, but I think he's going to be really good.
So let's talk about the draft a little bit. They took Cassius Stanley from Duke. He's a 6'6", 200-pound shooting guard. Some of the research I had done, he's very explosive athletically. He is a highlight waiting to happen, is what many have said. he made solid progress as a spot up shooter, and he did pretty okay creating space off of the ball, very active off the ball. I think he will come in and be a good piece for them. I'm interested to see what will happen with him and Oladipo, or if he'll be Depot's backup, or if maybe they'll run Depot at the three, or him at the three. Probably not. How tall? Well, he's 6'6". He could probably run a little bit of the three, but we can talk more about that here in a little bit. But um,
I think they're so deep. Like the Pacers are a deep team. I don't see him getting a whole lot of playing time.
yeah, he's a really solid off or ball defender on the ball. He's pretty strong. He has a strong frame, and he was pretty decent rebounder as well. He had about 5 rebounds a game last year, which was pretty solid for a shooting guard. Um, his ball skills are a work in progress, but in transition, he's really solid. Really good at the catch and shoot, and his passing ability off of the transition is pretty solid as well. He's kind of older for a freshman. I believe he's just now 20, or he turned 21 and he's just a freshman, or he was a freshman last year, so he's pretty old. So this could be his ceiling. Where will his ceiling be? I think he can have a pretty high ceiling if he works hard at it and play behind Depot. We'll see again. Getting a little ahead of myself. He needs to be more disciplined defensively, but he's pretty solid from what I have read now. And we've talked about this in multiple videos. He only shot 73% from the free throw line, which obviously that needs work. 36% from three, which isn't terrible, but for a guard, he needs to get that up closer to 40. But yeah, 73% from the free throw line is not good for a shooting guard. But you just need to work on his consistency overall. So with that being said, Reno, let's kind of talk about all of the rotation.
This is a super deep team, and there's a couple of players that's not named in this rotation. TJ McConnell, who's going to get playing time, and Cassius Stanley. Now, Jeremy Lamb is coming back from an injury, or is he still injured? I'm not quite sure. But Malcolm Brogdon's fantastic. They just have a lot of, like, that starting lineup right there is a lot of B plus players. Actually, almost all B plus players. They just don't have anyone. Let's say you're down by 1, and it's game 7. Who do you give the ball to?
See, I would argue that Sabonis is an A minus player, but I could see. I mean, I could see him being either or. Now, whether to take that last shot,
I think Sabonis is a good at a lot of things. I don't think he's great at one thing. I also think they're playing him at the wrong position. They got Miles Turner at the center. They slide that big boy down low, man. He does not need to be playing power forward. His feet too slow to be guarding power forwards. What I would do in a perfect world is I'd shift everyone down from TJ to the 4, and then bring Dougie McBuckets to the 3 to give you some more shooting, open the court for everyone else. But yeah, this is a really good roster. It's a really good team. They're gonna be really well coached. There just isn't a lot of star power on this team unless TJ Warren becomes Bubble Jesus again. Goga Badatsi, who was their first round pick last year, he'll probably get some more playing time. Justin Holiday, Jeremy Lamb, Aaron Holiday, all good players. Dougie McBuckets, all good players, man. I like everyone on this team. I really do. I do not see a bad player on this roster until you hit about 12 players deep. I just don't see. I also don't see this starting lineup being their best finishing lineup. Because you have Oladipo's not the best shooter. TJ Warren's a good shooter. He's not a good defender. You have 2 centers in the lineup. I think it's a weird jigsaw puzzle.
Yeah.
I see them making one trade. I think that trade is moving Miles somewhere. I think there's gonna be a lot of rumors about moving Oladipo, but I don't think he goes anywhere.
Yeah, so let's with that being said, let's talk about the vibe check. Yeah, I agree with you. I don't see Miles Turner being here by the trade deadline.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's going to get traded. Before the Celtics went and got Tristan Thompson, I thought that would have been a good trade.
It would have been perfect.
trading him to Boston. I think he would have been a perfect fit there.
Mm.
But then they went and got Tristan Thompson, so obviously they don't need him now. But I don't know where they would trade him, I guess.
I like Dallas.
Yeah.
Porzingis is injured a lot, and Miles Turner isn't injured a lot, and he blocks shots, and he can shoot threes, and he can shoot mid range. He's athletic. He can go over the top for dunks from Doncic. I think he'd be fantastic in Dallas. I like him to Dallas a lot. I think that'd be fantastic, especially defensively, because I don't trust Porzingis to play every game this season or any season. So I think that'd be
He
fantastic.
hasn't played a game yet.
Yeah, he hasn't played a game yet, so
That's why Dallas has started 1-2.
that's why Dallas only beat the Clippers by 50. They would have beat the Clippers by 80.
That's probably a fact.
The Clippers are dog, man. They're
Well, we'll talk about them later. We'll talk more
I
about
won't dog on the Clippers too much. I hate the Clippers.
Yeah, we'll talk more about that later. But yeah,
Clippers
I agree for the most part with what you said. I think they need to get rid of Miles Turner. That sounds a little harsh. I think that he doesn't fit with this team anymore.
He doesn't fit on the team.
Where they're moving, I don't think he's a good piece for them, and I think he has really good trade. He would have really good trade value because of, I mean, like you said at the beginning, top of the video, he can be a defensive player of the year candidate. I mean,
he has that talent.
Yeah, and I honestly think he'll be really good wherever he goes. I think he'd be good on this team as well, but I just think that lane's clogged and they need to make room for Sabonis. The only issue with that is you're losing a phenomenal defender. You're losing your rim protector because Sabonis isn't the best at rim protecting. Then again, we haven't really seen it because they have Miles.
Yeah, you have to see what you got with Sabonis because he arguably is your best player on the team.
Yeah.
And if you're not letting your best player, if you're not utilizing him to his fullest potential, then you're not giving him the best avenue in which to display it. I like Sabonis a lot. Miles Turner is going to make another team very happy. I think he's moved before the trade line. Excuse me.
Bless you.
Sorry. I think he's going to make another team very happy. I like him with the Mavericks. I think it was a great fit. I think there's going to be a lot of Oladipo trade rumors in the air. I think they're going to be like him tied with the Lakers, him tied with the Bucks, him tied with the Nets, him tied with a bunch of title contenders. I don't see anyone pulling the trigger. I think this is just going to be another team that's played by a team mindset, no superstardom, which is great in the regular season, but during the playoffs, stars win basketball games.
Yeah.
That is just a fact in basketball.
We saw that
in football. In fall, teams win football games. Teams win Super Bowl championships, unless you're Tom Brady. But in the NBA, stars win championships. That's just facts. Look at last year, LeBron and AD. There was not a duo better than LeBron and AD. They lost. They gentlemen swept every team they played to the finals. So.
And Jimmy Buckets. I mean, we saw what he did.
And Jimmy Buckets was the best player in the East in terms of the playoffs.
Yeah. He took a team that really, I mean, other than Bam, is like they're good, but there's no like standout star other than Bam.
Exactly.
And Goran Dragic, but that's another conversation for another day. But so let's kind of go to our 24-second shot clock. I think this Pacers team is going to be pretty solid. Again, I think they're going to make the playoffs. I think they're too good not to, but I don't think they're going to be anything like extravagantly special. Like I see them being around that probably with other teams getting better. I'll probably see them sitting at maybe a 5th or 6th seed. I think they're going to get about the same amount of wins, but I think that's not going to be good for.
I think I got them too low. Is that what it sounds like?
I
got them at the 8th. I got them at the 8th seed of the East.
I think I could see him at the 8. Like I'd say 6th to 8th is kind of where they're sitting. I don't see him going much higher than the 6th, and about 8th is probably where they're sitting.
I think with the East, the same as the West, the 6th to 10th seeds are all pretty close together. You have Washington, Indiana, I'm drawing a blank. You have Atlanta. You have all these other teams that are going to be playing in that playing tournament. I think Indiana's going to be a well-coached team during the season. And honestly, I can see them get like a seventh seed, maybe a sixth seed, and go and rank up higher. But I think once they hit the playoffs, they're just going to hit that concrete wall again because they don't have a star on that team. They don't have anyone that can elevate their play. It's great to have a team that's full of players who do their job well, but when the going gets tough, you need that one guy that can elevate his play and win the game for you. The Miami Heat is the perfect example. Jimmy Butler was never the most talented player on the team. When he played the Celtics, him and Bam, neither of those players were the most talented players on the court. But when the going got tough, they elevated their game. They don't have an elevator on this team.
Yeah. I'm interested to see. They're playing pretty well this year so far, so we'll see if they are able to continue that moving forward. Sabonis is killing it. I think he had a monster game tonight. From what I at least I know he started off really strong tonight. So I haven't seen the stats, but yeah, I think this Pacers team is going to be. I mean, they're going to be a good East team, but what does that mean?
Yeah.
So, all right, guys.
Second round would be lucky.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, that was our take on the Indiana Pacers. We hope you really enjoyed it. I know we enjoyed it. So, with that being said, Reno, take us away.
Thank you guys for watching the Armchair Athletes. I am Reno,
and I am Ed,
and we'll be seeing you guys on the next video. We'll be talking about a fun place in Texas that has a little bit of drama. We'll see you that time.
All right, guys. Take it easy. See ya.
Peace out.